The massive trees in the field loom over Oscar as he frantically runs past. Their long branches appear to be reaching out, wanting to trap him in a tight embrace. A thick fog rolls in as Oscar sprints through the dark, eerie tree field. Oscar's heart is beating out of his chest. His lungs are on fire and sweat is pouring down his back. But he is too afraid to stop running. Oscar can hear the heavy footfalls crushing the dead leaves close behind him. By using the ominous tree field as a shortcut, Oscar hopes to remain out of his pursuer's reach long enough to make it to safety. Oscar's car broke down on Baller Street, 5 miles away from his house. He lost track of time while studying for his upcoming midterm that Miss Matthews, the librarian, had to usher him out. Due to overwhelming exhaustion, Oscar failed to notice his quite deflated back tire. He only made it 2 miles on the main highway when suddenly his tire violently blew out. He swerved a few times until he was safely stopped on the shoulder. His streak of bad luck seemed to be in abundance because his cell phone was dead. Oscar figured hoofing it the rest of the way was his only option. After locking his car, he began to walk home in complete darkness. Oscar walked about a mile when he started to hear footsteps behind him. Each time he randomly stopped to quickly look over his shoulder, Oscar never saw anyone. He sped up his leisurely paced stroll to a brisk walk, only to hear the steps behind him match his pace. Oscar started to run when he felt a breathing on the back of his neck. He abruptly turned and sprinted into the dark tree field on his right. Oscar suddenly trips, his arms flailing out in front of him as he sprawls face first into the muddy field. He slowly and painfully rises to his knees, heaving large gulps of air back into his lungs. He lightly touches his busted lip, only to bring his hand down to see blood covering his fingers. Oscar swivels his head, not seeing anyone in the area. He pauses and listens intently, trying to hear footsteps or any movement near him in the gloomy tree field. The silence was deafening. Oscar achingly rises to his feet. He assesses himself for any more physical damage and breathes deeply to calm his nerves. Confident he is alone, Oscar takes a step forward, only to run into a hard object. Oscar stumbles back, regains his footing, and raises his eyes to detect what he possibly could have ran into. Oscar's eyes meet his own blue eyes. Oscar's identical clone stands tall, facing him. Oscar, too terrified to even move, watches in complete horror as his clone's lips twist into a menacing, wide grin. The clone lunges, and Oscar is engulfed in darkness.